hosted by Tony Gapperstone. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Action. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Brave Maker podcast. We are live here at Sundance. This is episode 320. And I'm Tony Gapperstone. I'm the founder and executive director. I am a writer, director, and actor. And I'm going to do inclusive description. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm wearing a black t-shirt today with my black glasses. I'm a Caucasian guy with some brown hair and some blonde tips. And I'm with my co-host over here.
Hey, y'all. Priscilla Lamb, actor, producer, also director of community engagement here at Brave Maker. I am wearing a jean outfit. I have long black hair. I'm black and Asian, so I am like a light yellow brown.
And our guest, Ray Maiello, producer. Go ahead, Ray, introduce yourself.
I am Ray Maiello. I'm a producer based out of Venice, California, here at Sundance with a movie Chasing Summer, and just super excited to be here.
All right.
The energy, man.
The energy, do you feel it?
The last Sundance in Park City. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. How many years have you attended Sundance?
Oh, probably 6 or 7, but This is
Okay.
the first time I've had my own film that I produced in. Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's your first time with the film?
First time with the film.
Wow.
Time. Yeah. I mean, I worked at some, entertainment companies.
Which we will talk about.
Yes.
We'll do. First of all, congratulations. I think having a film at Sundance is obviously amazing, but then having it at the last Sundance of Park City, it feels like super special. Like, I think so many people wanted that.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I have to give a shout out to the director, Josephine Decker, or star, Liza Schlesinger. It's films are so collaborative.
Yeah.
My producing partners, Rob Guillermo, Sam Pressman.
Eliza Schlesinger. I always have a funny time saying her name, but Eliza is so dope, dude. Like the fact that she's her mind, her comedy. Talk about getting connected to her and this whole movie's all about.
So my producing partner, Rob Guillermo, he and I, we met at Netflix. We started together on the first day in 2013.
Wow.
Were you in LA or up in the Bay?
No, we were in LA,
Yeah,
in
okay.
Beverly Hills. And Netflix at the time was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
There was like 150 people in the whole office. I did, development and business affairs for original TV series. Rob did non-scripted, and Liza has a bunch of specials on Netflix. And so I left Netflix to do producing. I do some writing.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob was like, hey, I've got this great script from Eliza, for a film. And this was about 3 years ago, I think.
Wow.
And so Rob and I had always talked about at Netflix, we're like, we want to be on the other side. We want to be helping people get their stories told and back them. And it just feels good and it's creative. Netflix was the best job I ever had. But it
was time to spread your wings a little bit.
Yeah, spread the wings. And since I was 9 years old, I just loved film. To be able to make one is a dream.
Yeah.
Totally.
And Chasing Summer. The whole thing with Sundance, you get a very little tiny blurb of what these movies are. So we haven't seen it either.
No.
So tell us a little bit, what can we know without spoiling too much?
Well, Chasing Summer is a movie about going home and confronting sort of your past life, and specifically high school. So the star of it, Eliza, she plays Jamie, who she loses her job, she loses her boyfriend. She's a disaster relief worker.
Okay.
So she's off in a foreign country, and her boyfriend breaks up with her. She has to go back home to her small town in Texas that she grew up in. She hasn't been back to that town in 20 years.
Wow.
And, wacky parents. She runs into friends that she hasn't seen in 20 years from high school that are very different from her, right? And so there's a romance with somebody younger than her. She's sort of a 40-year-old millennial, and I'm not giving anything away. And it's a movie about who you were 20 years ago and how you can run into people, that uncomfortable feeling of people that think they know you because they knew you in high school.
Yeah.
And it's like you leave your small town because you have dreams, you want to do different things, and they still think you're the same person. And so all of that collides, and it's a journey into, sort of the meaning of the past and the meaning of what the future can be. So it's a pretty exciting movie, and it has a lot of humor and heart. Josephine Decker, she's been to Sundance 3 times. She had a movie, Shirley, in 2020 with Elizabeth Moss that she won the directing award for.
Okay, cool.
So Eliza brings the truth, and Josephine brings the poetic visual style, and together it's really something special.
having a feature, making a feature, huge. Is it based in Los Angeles? Where's it based? Where'd you film?
The film's based in a small town in Texas.
In Texas.
Do you guys film there as well?
Well, we actually filmed in St. Louis, Missouri for
Oh wow.
For rebates?
Yeah, the tax credit.
Yeah.
And I should say, it's an ensemble cast. We have a real, comedy royalty. Megan Mullally plays her mother, right?
She's
Will
fun.
and Grace. She's really fun. Lola Tung is her friend, and she works in a roller rink, and it's a skating rink where her sister works. Cassidy Freeman plays her sister. And it's an amazing cast. Garrett Waring is the love interest. He's on Ransom Canyon.
Okay.
And then Tom Welling, who was in a show called Smallville.
Oh yeah, he played Superman.
Superman, yeah.
He's in it?
He's in it.
Is he one of the love interest potentials? Maybe? Okay. Sweet.
That sounds like a fun,
it's a wild cast.
Fun ride. And it sounds like you guys use a lot of elements of like small town life.
Roller rink.
Yeah.
Roller rink, suburban Texas. There's a lot of humor in it about like how different it can be.
Yeah.
And it's just Eliza has a very sharp wit, and her humor is just so honest about, how people can kind of like, you have to drop the mask, and so I just think that that's what makes it interesting. And then it's basically a character study of Jamie going back and confronting, her friends and her mother, and her life is falling apart. It's
we love movies. We love stories that have life falling apart. That's what makes it's real and it's interesting.
Yeah, the art imitates
it's
real
the
life.
collision.
Can you talk about development, just like the producer life? Both Priscilla and I produce films. We're producing a feature this year. I'd call it a comedy with some dramatic heart to it. We're navigating the indie thing, like what this is too. Where are you? What do you think? What are some of your top kind of learnings or ideas when it comes to producing features that you would say to us or to our listeners and watchers out there about getting those features made? And there's nobody knows anything anyway, like what's happening. But what are some things you personally learned, Ray?
Well, so I think there's a couple of things. The independent film market is obviously under pressure because streaming and the pandemic has changed people's habits on how they consume independent film. Yeah. And the strongest theatrical performances for certain genres, horror is great, and comedy, and then the big action movies, the big IP, and then the personal story films, which is really Sundance's forte. It's like personal stories with meaning and representation. Those movies, people aren't going to the theaters as much to see those films, and so that's what makes it tough. But if you find the right story and it has something specific that you can turn into a universal truth that everybody identifies with, I think that will always work. But I also think I was at a panel in Europe last year. The way the Europeans support independent film, every country has like a ministry of culture that gives money to develop independent films, independent stories.
But we don't.
We don't do that. It's a weird kind of political issue. We're trying to do better, but it's just a strange thing being in LA over 20 years, and most TV shows, most films, they're shot outside of California. We went to St. Louis because they have a new tax credit. A lot of people go to Georgia, right? The Walking Dead, and New Mexico, and a lot of shows, up in Vancouver. And, it just makes it hard for the industry because the people that make their living, all of the crew, and it's just such a collaborative effort. LA is getting more expensive and the people can't stay there anymore. So I feel like we should have like a national, support for film, especially independent film, because the bigger studios, they aren't making them as much.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Because you were working at Netflix.
I was, yeah.
And you were probably very comfortable. You're living?
Well, yeah, sure.
But because I'm wondering, like, as I myself, an indie filmmaker, trying to figure out how to sustain between the moments of payment, right? Between gigs.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
The moments of payment. It's a very brief moment.
We work all the time, but those moments of payments are brief. But the idea of getting like a corporate job in the world that I am passionate about. It's kind of like how you were in Netflix, and I guess I would wonder, like, what were some of the things that you learned while you were there? Because I'm sure you learned so much being an executive and hearing what gets greenlit and what doesn't and why, and then you ultimately walking away from that comfortable space. Not, I don't know your savings or your Roths or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, like, to walk away from something that's a safety net, the corporate life.
Yeah, no, I can speak to that. I mean, Netflix in particular, especially at that time, because it was early Netflix, it's the best job I ever had. And, Reed Hastings, Ted Sarandos, Cindy Holland, they changed my life because they got me to see, how you can build a company, with an idea and with passion. And then similarly, it inspired me to do what I really want to do.
That's awesome leadership.
Right. And so that's what Netflix is about. And Reed would always say, like, this is like a sports team. Like, you give us, a few of your best years, and then, we find the next like star player, So they're a different kind of company in that way. It's not a long-term stability thing.
Okay.
It's more of about, there's a clear objective. And it's just great. And so, that inspired me to go off on my own, but it's a fantastic job. The company's probably grown like 3x since I've been there. So it's pretty crazy.
But you worked at Paramount too, right?
I worked at Paramount too. Yep.
So you went from Netflix to Paramount?
Paramount to Netflix.
Paramount to Netflix. Okay.
Well, what is your top 3 things that you've taken away as a filmmaker that you applied to your work life now?
So I think what I learned is, if you have a project, it's really obviously about the story, and to spend the most amount of time you can, if you're the writer or with the writer, to get the story as clear as possible.
Good.
Okay.
As convincing as possible.
Yep.
Especially with film, the whole save the cat and, the story beats. But then you also want to take a step back and be like, the story fits all those things, but is it resonating? Is it getting like at a deeper truth?
Okay.
Because I think that it's about truth and empathy. And, we see film, I think, to, preserve that feeling of empathy for life, right? The lights go out and you feel like, oh, somebody understands like what I'm thinking, what I'm going through, how I relate to people. So I think independent film is about that. And when you have a story that has that empathy and has, universal truth, I think that people respond to it.
Okay.
You're speaking right to me right now. I really resonate with that. Like the heart, even Brave Maker, our whole mission is to tell stories, to tell brave stories that can change the world. And a good story is one where people feel seen, right? They feel connected. There's emotion. Their heart is connected. And this film that we're doing, non-profiting, it's, as an artist, you have to be an entrepreneur. We are a nonprofit. Sundance is a nonprofit. Anything that you do when you make a film, when you start a new endeavor, it's so hard. It's so humbling. You want to do good. You want to create some art that's amazing, that touches people. And my whole tagline with this film, non-profiting, is like, can you do good and not burn out? Can you be a creator? It's hard, right? It's hard. So hard.
It's a marathon.
It's a marathon
is what I would say.
And so I guess my next question to you to riff on is, what are some of the things that you are doing for sustainability? Like, how in this ever-changing world of film, and you live in LA, talk to us, because there's so many young people that I go, will we have a film industry in the future where young people can be telling stories like we're seeing now? Or will it all be social media stories? I don't know. Not that that's bad necessarily, but I'm curious about sustainability.
Well, okay, I can say 2 things about that. It's funny that you say sustainability, because my first narrative feature was partially financed with green energy tax credits when the Biden administration changed the way that you could essentially transfer green energy tax credits. It's changed now because the administrations have changed and it's become a political issue. But that was My Dead Friend Zoe with Morgan Freeman and Ed Harris and Sonequa Martin Green and Natalie Morales. And it was great. And that was a story about veteran PTSD and grief.
A Black woman.
And a Black woman, representation of very diverse cast. Very, very diverse cast. And
That was at South by, right?
That was at South by,
Yeah,
and we were, we were fortunate enough to win the audience award.
Yeah, I remember.
Wow.
So so
Good
that
track
was
record, Ray, by the way.
Oh, thank you. We'll I'm praying we'll see how Chasing Summer does. But so that was what inspired me is that we could do both. We could do something for sustainability and create a story, and
with huge impact on the PSD community and people who are in the military.
Absolutely.
Huge.
And that's why, through some friends, Travis Kelsey came on as an executive producer on that project because he's a big supporter of veterans.
Wow.
And so, that was just an amazing project. Theatrical's tough though, but the film is out there and it resonates with a lot of people, and I'm very proud of it.
Can I ask about the investment side of that? So you got the green energy tax, but you also had investors as well, right? Like outside private investing money. So you're piecing this thing together in all different ways.
You're piecing it together. Independent film, it's we have the money, and it's you're always really hustling. You're hustling and you're finding outside investors, and then there's a lot of people that just do bridge loans. So even if you have like a state tax credit, you're going to get say 30% back from the state. There are lenders that will then lend you that 30%.
No, you're going to get it back later.
Right.
Okay,
so then you're basically transferring it to them.
Got it.
And so there's a sort of healthy market for that, but they're risk averse too sometimes. It depends on the project and who's attached and what the story is and what the plan is for it and what festivals it's going to go to. But independent film is really, really rough, and I wish that the studio supported it more. And part of the reason they don't support it is that the whole crew and the craft of making a film, it's the same labor intensive project for a small film of, $10 million, $5 million, $50 million as it is for a $150 million film, right? It's the same time to make it.
You're 100%.
And so what the big studios now, they just don't have the time, and it's not cost effective for them to make an independent film. They're like, well, we're not going to spend 2 years, 3 years making a $15 million film when we could spend the same amount of time and the same amount of people making a big Marvel movie. And so unfortunately, that's what's happening, right? And so I don't know where it's going to end up. I mean, I think there's some great new outlets. I think A24 obviously is my favorite. They take risks. And Neon, and, Searchlight. I mean, there's still places out there, Focus, that do great projects. They're still getting made. I mean, Begonia was amazing. I mean,
and just got nominated for Best Picture too.
Yeah,
right? So
I mean, it's just there's so many cool movies out there that if they weren't in such skilled hands for some of these distributors, they wouldn't connect. But these movies are connecting. They're doing well. People are going to see them. So I think that's encouraging.
Okay, so for a young filmmaker, for in our community that wants to get started and have a career like yours, where would you advise them to start? Like, say they just got out of school, or they're a young adult that picked up a camera, or that wants to start editing or producing. Like, what would you say? Like,
I'll tell you what.
Top 3 things that like you need to be doing this. You need to find this community. Or
my son is 17. If he came to me tomorrow and said, "I'm going to go to college, but what I want to do is the second I get out of college is be a filmmaker," what I would say is this: there's film school, and that's great. But it costs money.
Yes.
You put a camera in your hand because the equipment is a lot cheaper. You do short films, or if you want to be on the development side of it, you find a job where every single day, even if it's an internship or you're assisting somebody, every single day you're one step closer to being the filmmaker that you want to be. Because a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, I'm going to go to whatever business school or grad school," or and I know all about that. And it just takes you every day that you're doing a job that has nothing to do with what your goal is one day it's taking you further away from it.
Wow.
So if you do 10 years at a job, and it's like you're not, so find a filmmaker, find a studio, find a development executive, find a production company that you can intern for, you can assist for, find a director that you can assist, and it's not that expensive to get equipment and experiment and do short films and do your own editing and just learn it all.
Love it.
Or after college, AFI seems to be one of the great places. I mean, they really teach everything.
Okay.
We're all about here learning by doing as much as possible, because not a lot of people have that resource to go.
That's exactly,
so it's hard to send someone to college, which I know somebody who is in college right now, passionate about film, I don't think he needed to go because he was so talented, but $100,000 a year at US or 90,000 at USC. I'm like, it's a lot of debt to come out unless you have it, unless you've got the trust funds.
Take that 90,000
and make a movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this because the last film we just did, we did for $350,000, a feature film, micro budget. We used WeFunder. Are you familiar with WeFunder?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we raised half of it on WeFunder. So we're gonna talk shop a little bit here, y'all. Episode 320 with producer Ray Maiello. I gotta say it with a little Italian accent, with chasing summer here at Sundance 2026. So let's talk some shop. So we made this film. Half of it came through WeFunder, which is an independent way to raise funds, but with investor ability. So it's not like Seed and Spark. It's not like GoFundMe. It's not asking for donations. It is investments, and the minimum is $100. So we raised 160 some thousand on WeFunder. Then we pieced a bunch of funding through our nonprofit, through Bravemaker, so people can write off, money. And then little small roundtables, Zooms, kind of our friends and family to piece the rest of the money together. We wanted to get $1 million. Didn't get $1 million. We waited 10 years to try to make this film, but we could never hit the $1 million. So we finally said, we're just going to make it with 350,000. We filmed 30 days. Okay, I haven't made a dime on this. I cast Priscilla in it, so she has a role in it.
I see.
It's a biopic based on a true story of a guy who did a hunger strike in San Francisco in 2004 when Newsom was mayor.
Okay.
To benefit the children and families of our Tenderloin, which is like the Skid Row. Yeah. And he started a rescue mission.
I think I remember.
Remember that? Yeah. Big story. 33 days. And we got a very famous Taiwanese actor to be the lead, thinking we're going to make our money back overseas because he has a huge following and people will see his movie.
That's pretty smart, right? That means something.
So I want to talk to you about just like, okay, there's all different ways to make a movie, right? This next movie, Nonprofiting, it's about nonprofiting. So I'm trying to see, can we get it all somehow through grants and donations? Well, how would you consult us if you were our producing consultant on this film, Nonprofiting? You know what it is. It's a comedy with some dramatic heart to it about nonprofit leaders trying to make it and not die.
Not die. No, that's fine.
And it's starring a comedian named Lenisa Frederick, who's well known in lots of TV guest star spaces and has a thing called #booked in LA that she's a part of.
I mean, you could do the grants. I mean, they're in terms of there was a company called Participant, obviously.
Yep. They went out, right?
Yeah, they went out, but they chose great projects and it was sustainable and they did Inconvenient Truth. And I think that they just had some, overhead issues. But Vice did some stuff like that was very community oriented. But there are grants. I mean, there are grants. I think that. And then you say that you attached an actor that meant something for international sales. That's important. That's important as well. I mean, the old model, right? Like in the 90s, right? It's like the independent film model was you attach the cast and then they would sell the international rights, right? They would front load and sell the international rights and that would pay the budget. So they would already
don't fully get that.
Already be in the black.
But I know that concept. And it still happens a little bit, doesn't it?
A little bit, but it's not nearly what it used to be.
Okay.
Because the theatrical is down. Yeah, it's just down. It's been about the same for 10 years. It's just the ticket prices have gone up, but the number of people that go has been steadily declining.
So the indie financing thing, even here, our friend, we had a podcast yesterday, Jim Cummings, with his series called The Screener, independently financed on their own through crowdsourcing an independent TV show. And it's here in the episodic, hoping to sell it.
I mean, that's a good way to do it. Right. I mean, people are starting to do that.
Yeah.
It's more of a risk, but it's more of a reward. So I know people that there's also, I think there's some Asian they're like micro episodes.
The verticals?
Yeah, the verticals. Yeah. And if you execute it well, they're they sell.
They make money.
So it's like every new technology, there's a time period where things it really negatively impacts everything, but then ultimately it opens things up more. And so I think that's what's happening with digital distribution globally with some of these companies. TikTok and YouTube have a big presence here right now. They're getting into series and movies.
Are they here? TikTok's
here, yeah. There's actually a panel today, yeah.
Dang.
TikTok
So
has
many things.
they're getting into partnering with entertainment.
Wow.
So what's the ideal? What do you hope for chasing summer? Like, would you want a Netflix? I mean, you have such a connection there.
It's all things are possible. Netflix, Eliza had 5 specials on Netflix, and she has a big following there. So obviously, Netflix would be an amazing outlet for the film. There's so many good companies. Amazon and MGM, Neon, A24, Focus, Searchlight. I mean, there's just so many good companies. Black Bear is here with a film, and they're a fantastic company. I mean, there's so many good ones. So yeah,
you're like, whatever one pays the most. Let's go.
Well, honestly, it's about who's going to see it. It's a summer movie, and Josephine, the director, and Eliza. It's very important. I mean, obviously, you have to recoup, and the money's important, but we want it to connect and be marketed properly, and have the most people see it and remember it, and laugh, and feel understand the story, and feel like, oh, that story spoke to me.
So a summer movie, so you would like it to come out in the summertime?
Yeah,
ideally.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, our festival's in July, so if you need any festivals in NorCal for screening, sight unseen. We haven't seen it yet, but let's laugh. We all need to laugh.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Any final questions just about the producerial life?
Yes.
We want to ask Ray. We got him.
Yeah.
If a screenwriter wanted to align with you,
yes,
and you be their producer, what are you looking for in their scripts? And do you take inquiries? Do you read emails that people just send you?
It's harder with emails, but I do read scripts. I have somebody that does coverage for me.
Okay.
So they'll do like a summary, or they'll do a book report on a script. But I read scripts myself. I mean, the advice that I would give is, I think that what I'm looking for, and what people are always looking for, I think, is it's familiar, but it's fresh. Right. So it's like, there's so many stories. It's like, oh, but that's like this, but it's like, yeah, but they updated it. Or it felt like a little bit more current. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is The Graduate. I mean, it's 1969. It's like, and it's been, some of that influence was in like Olivia Wilde's, Booksmart, and I feel like that movie, there's an influence everywhere in that movie. But the great movies have been remade in different ways, like the great stories. But yeah, familiar but fresh, and something that takes a specific story, but then finds the universality in it.
Okay.
I think that's always, what connects.
Okay.
Right. Like I see.
Yep. You said empathy, universal truths.
Yeah.
Empathy and universal truths.
Been your statements.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I will own those. Empathy and universal truth.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. So everyone listening and or watching, if you are a screenwriter or a filmmaker and you have a script right now, can you think about your story in that way? Like, okay, so our story is about a daughter and a father who are both in different jobs that are considered nonprofits, and how they're crumbling and trying to figure out how they're going to move forward in life. I go, okay, not everyone has worked at a nonprofit. Is that going to exclude? But no, everyone has had a job that has felt burned, like they got burned out. You're making my wheels spin a little bit. And those like moments of crafting the story are important. But also, it is important to go, who is your audience? Let me end with that question, because I get that all the time.
Who's your audience?
Who's your audience? And I'm just starting to get okay, I think, going, yeah, it's not for everybody. But I need to be able to pinpoint, who do I want to watch it? How would you respond to that question?
Well, I think that's important, but I mean, I think the old film thing is like the 4 quadrant.
Right, the 4 quadrant.
Right.
Explain that for those who don't know.
So
like me.
So the Holy Grail in the big studio days of the 70s, 80s, and 90s was the 4 quadrant picture, which is the 4 demos: younger and older women, younger and older men.
Okay.
4 quadrants, and most movies can only hit 2 or 3, and maybe some can hit all 4. But I think that, thinking about the audience, I'm trying to think to the universal truth point, there is one recent movie, like Sentimental Value. Have you guys seen?
I haven't seen it yet. Nominated as well.
It's a story that is about something real between a father and a daughter, and
an actor who didn't really make time for his daughter.
Correct.
Because he was an actor.
And just coming around to the consequences of it. And it has a lot of empathy and a lot of universality in the way that it's telling it. And I think that probably that, the writer, the director, Joaquin, wasn't thinking specifically about what the audience is, but more about the story. So I don't know how to answer that exactly. I think that if it's good, it will have a big audience, right? But I mean, there's genres that can target certain specific comedies maybe and horror can specifically say, well, we want this young, male or female audience. But I think it's hard to build a script and art around the audience up front. The audience will come if the story is good.
Okay.
Is what I would say.
It's a great way to end. Ray, anything else you want to say on your first Sundance film?
Thank you for having me. And Chasing Summer at the Eccles on Monday. Really excited about it. Come see the film.
The Eccles Theater is the biggest venue at Sundance with like 1,100 seats. So that's a great premiere. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. We're really excited.
All right. Well, please keep following us here at bravemaker.org. We are going to be doing one more day of podcasts here in the Bravemaker condo. We are going to encourage you, please, if you believe in the arts, just like our film called Nonprofiting, support us. We are a public and charitable arts organization that receives 75 donations a month from people like you who believe in us. If you want to join that list of 75 people and get it up there, go to bravemaker.com/donate or just text the word Bravemaker from your phone to 44321. Thanks everybody for being a part. We'll look forward to seeing you and hearing your feedback. Please share this with people who would benefit from it. Brave stories change the world.
And you are the story.
Bye everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at bravemaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word Bravemaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.